Hello, 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 everybody. It's the Phenomenal STEMist, Phenomenal First Sundays. How's it going? I hope everybody is ready to hear this awesome interview. I need to actually share it. I'd like to share it on my Facebook page. Uh, Orville, how are you doing, sir?
Doing fine, thank you.
Yes. You and your Jamaican accent. Shout out to the Jamaican sensation. The Jamaican sensation.
Yes, yes.
Yes. I'll do it a little
But the
later.
one thing I cannot hide,
It's one thing you cannot hide. I hear it strongly. Oh, I hear the echo again. Did something change? Test, test. Oh, we sound good there. Good, good, good. All right. I'm going to share this to uh, Phenomenal Financial Freedom. And hopefully I'll get that shared on Phenomenal STEMIS at another time. So, yep. Hello, everybody. I don't know if you're watching. Who's watching from YouTube? I see you watching from Facebook. Do me a favor and say hello. Say hello to me. And I will respond. This is the Phenomenal STEMist. I'm Dr. Maya Byfield. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Phenomenal STEM Camp is coming in July. It's coming in July. And of course, what's very important, my book is out. My book is out, The Phenomenal STEMist, on Amazon right now. Please check it out. But there's nothing like the real deal. There's nothing like actually talking to someone that did it. So you can get, of course, my Megan Johnson is saying hello. Yeah, you can get my experience and what I feel in my book, but there's nothing like speaking with others about their process and their story, their journey into a STEM career. And I'm so excited to have Mr. Orville Anderson. He is an electrical engineer. He received his bachelor's of science and master's of science in electrical engineering from Florida International University. He is Orville Anderson, PE. He's a licensed uh, professional engineer, and he's going to talk about his process. Anything you want to say in greetings to the people, Orville, before we start, before I ask the questions?
no,
No,
just hello
just
to
hello to
everyone,
everyone.
and welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Orville is so low key. I wouldn't have known just by looking at him, talking to him, that he's an engineer. And that's a shame. What does that even mean? What does an engineer look like? It looks like him. It looks like him. All right. So, first question, Orville. When did you fall in love with your discipline? When did you fall in love with it?
Well,
Well,
as a
as a
child, I was
child, I
always
was always
curious
curious
about
about
how things
how
work.
things work.
I was
I
very
was very
curious.
curious.
I like to
I
pull
like
up
to
on
pull
other
up on other
things,
things,
little things
little things
that
that
anybody put in
anybody put
front
in
of me
front of
that's
me that's
electronic
electronic
or
or
mechanical.
mechanical,
Take it
take it
apart
apart
just
just
to
to
see
see
what's
what's
inside.
inside.
But I
But
didn't
I
really
didn't
start
really
to fall
start
in
to
love
fall
with
in
my
love with my
discipline
discipline
until I was
until I
out
was
of
out
my
of my
junior
junior
year
senior year
when
when
you're finished with
finished
the
with
set
the
prerequisites
prerequisites
of
of
uh, what you're
what you're
studying,
studying,
and then
and
you
then
start to
you
teach
start to
about
teach
how
about
things
how
work,
things work,
like the
like the
actual
actual
mechanics of
mechanics of
how, say
how,
for
say for
example,
example,
even a
even
simple
a
thing
simple
as
thing
a
as
light
a
bulb
light bulb
or
or
amplifier
amplifier
or
or
things of that
things of
sort,
that sort, or
how
how the
electric grid
electric grid
works,
works,
or
or
how your
how your
sound
sound in
conversion
your
board
cell phone
works,
works,
or
or
how is it
how
that
is
you
it that
can
you
have
can have
someone
someone
talking
talk
here
here
in
in
say
say
Florida to
Florida to
somebody in
somebody in
Jamaica
Jamaica
or in
or in
England
England
over the
over
phone.
the way.
So that's
So that's
where I
where
really
I
started
really
to
started to
fall in love with
fall
my
in love with my
discipline
discipline
example, things like that, where you can sit as a computer that we're using right now to this live stream.
Yeah, it's an amazing, engineers help develop this. Engineers like this, and one of my biggest, um, not frustrations is the word, but maybe like epiphany is like when everybody was complaining about the pandemic and or sad, you had young men build StreamYard, and they are probably millionaires to billionaires right now. There are young men that built Restream. Restream is what I'm using, and other platforms I use StreamYard. Engineers built this. While everybody was complaining about different things, there were people that came to solve a problem. And that's one thing I love about engineers. I feel like that's what you guys do. And it starts from young so any kid out there who likes to break apart things and put it back together, don't get mad, mom. Put them in some kind of.
I can apologize for the parents for now. For the kids, sorry for the kids, because I know my parents when they were died. I love everything. I remember one time, I was about say nine when I got some Walkman. Anybody remember what Walkman were like?
Mm-hmm.
And I got my Walkman, and in 1 week of having my Walkman before I pulled it up.
Oh my gosh.
And the terrible thing is that I pulled it up and I messed it up. So what I did, confession here, my sister also got, but it was a different color. So I took my sister's one apart, took the things inside, put it in mine, put it together, and then I said, oh, mine is working fine. I don't know what. So hopefully you don't see this video, and I'm apologizing for that.
Oh my goodness! Look at that. We got confessions going on. I hear an echo again, Orville. So just turn it down a little bit, or like don't listen to yourself, or something like that. I don't know what it is, but that is amazing story. And you owe your sister what's the newest thing out? Because we don't have Walkmans, we don't have DVD players anymore. What do we have? Like you owe her a cell phone. You get her an Apple iPhone 11 or something. You owe her iPod. Yeah, even that is considered old. Listen, that is an awesome story on how you had the ability to even think that way, to break up yours, then take her stuff out and put it and reinstall it in yours to make it work. Wow, that's the engineering in the making. And so young kids that like to do that, consider being an engineer. Number two, here's my next question. What tools did you use to discipline yourself to succeed? So you have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in electrical engineering. Did you need to discipline yourself? And then what did you do?
Well, years ago, often on engineering campuses, when you go to all the other campuses, like even the arts or science. Everybody's partying. When you go to the everybody's like boom, boom, boom. Meaning relatively because our discipline is organized. Engineers in general have to learn a little bit of all the different aspects of engineering. So, for example, you're an electrical engineer. Although you're electrical, you have to know a little bit about civil engineering. Because you might be a job where you're working millions, you have to know a little bit about industrial engineering, a little bit about chemical engineering. So they list the classes in general so that get a little bit about, learn a little bit of all the different disciplines in engineering. So you're familiar, you have a project where you're working on something that you need to at least understand what you're have to do. That being said, I was. You have to be very focused. And kind of tune yourself in to the discipline, and it's like for the whole, I would say last 2 years, I had to really, put a singular focus on finishing my degree because, so that, I tried to put on all the distractions so that you can succeed in your courses. So I would say I had to be, very focused and a lot of planning. In terms of studying, you have to set aside time in your day, no matter if you're working or other things that are going on, to study. And finally, a lot, I would say, a lot of this, every discipline has this, but a lot of group study is very helpful. When you're in that group of other people, and you surprise a little bit. You get to know a lot of different people from different parts of the world, and that are also studying your engineering. And that happens a lot. But really helps when you in that group setting that you can feed off each other to pass some very difficult.
Yeah, listen, you heard Orville? Are you guys listening? Those of you who are thinking about being engineers, you're in high school right now. When you get to college, ain't no partying going on. Engineers, a lot of engineers, and he's not the only engineer I have interviewed. And there's a common theme that I've heard from most of them. You're gonna miss some parties. You're gonna miss some parties. You gotta be focused on many sectionalities of engineering. You have to study. Like you have to study. You can't. Yeah, I had students sometimes come to me in the first week of school asking for bonus points. They're already. I'm like, listen, and groups. I love it. Okay, so these are some tools that you used, and so I want you to remember, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to get into a group setting. That's when people learn a lot. All right, so tell me, what were your challenges? What were your challenges in school? And you can tell me for your bachelor's or your master's.
Well, most of my challenges I experienced when I was doing my bachelor's degree, and part of it was especially for my first year and second year, um, as engineers are have to take a lot of courses that aren't related to your discipline. So I've had like mathematics, semester of English literature, and social arts, philosophy, psychology, and me, it's harder because you want to focus on the courses that you know um, that you like to do, math and even the chemistry. But then when you go into these other courses, you still have to, ask them like, well, I had a hard time, especially like I said, taking, English literature, doing essays and writing. But ironically, although I had a difficult time even in my literature courses, I found out that it helps me later, especially when I was doing my graduate degree. You have to know a lot of writing, and get used to that when you're doing research and writing those papers. It helps you out later.
Wow. That's why I like to have different people interview for Phenomenal First Sundays, because I think you're my fourth engineer. I think I've had a mechanical, a civil, and an environmental, and you're my fourth, which is the electrical engineer. And they all gave different answers, and you given a totally different answer for this one, where your challenge wasn't even necessarily the math and science courses as much, even though they probably had challenges that you had to study and discipline yourself for. Your challenge was trying to take the liberal arts classes that you knew you weren't necessarily needing for your discipline, and you probably weren't excited about, like I couldn't stand art appreciation. Oh my god. I like world civilization, but I hated art appreciation.
So
Um
let's say art appreciation.
yeah, yeah. See, it was a choice. You could either take music or art.
There's one I did art appreciation, and I also did music appreciation because I guess music was a love of mine, so I guess of course. So I actually enjoyed myself in music appreciation, but art appreciation that was special.
Oh my goodness. I can honestly say I wasn't honest in art appreciation. Since we're confessing, since you're confessing that the fact that you broke up your sister's Walkman to save yours, I cheated in art appreciation. Forgive me, Professor, whatever your name is. Like, but to the point, to your point of um liberal arts courses, you needed it later on in life, right? Your English lit helps you in writing for your graduate degree. So, and for me too, just writing a book or being creative. These classes, though they aren't involved in any STEM fields, there's a new thing called STEAM. We're learning that art and music and uh, creative fields are very helpful in the sciences. So that's pretty cool that you said your challenges were, you know, being able to handle the diversity of your classes in college, and that you must, and it will pay off in the end. That's what I'm hearing. Tell me what you do now. Like, can you explain your profession now, and you can then tell me your challenges.
Well, actually, my focus in college, like for my graduate degree, I did signal processing, you know. But now I work in the say controls arena, and when we say controls, for example, you know, say in a say plant, say for instance, if you have water production plant, you know, and they have this plant that's producing water for the entire city, right? You don't have one person going there and really pressing a button to turn on a pump. It's all done on a computer screen. So what they'll do is, for instance, they need to, prepare the water, turn on a pump to some filtration. They would actually on the computer press the button. Sometimes it's a touch screen, or they use a mouse and press the button. And then what would happen? It goes down to a controller, like a small computer that does the processing for you. So that small computer says, "Hey, I got a signal to turn on this pump and start my process, which is to filter the water." So when the little computer gets that instruction, then it says, "Okay, I'll turn on the pump. Everything is right. This person is, the right person to has the security to turn on the pump, and I have enough power, and everything else is good." Then it starts the pump. Then once it starts the pump, it says, "Okay, everything is flowing right. We have pressure, we have flow. Then I can start the filtration process." And then once everything is done, it sends back a signal to the operator, and it shows on the screen that, "Hey, everything is going at you can see that there's a flow that's flowing, or some kind of feedback, what's the temperature of the water, what's the pressure." Then it will display on the screen. So that's the arena that I currently do.
Wow. So the control of power plants or water plants, or they're all under the control of computers, and then engineers. Go ahead, Arlo. I lost your volume. Yeah, no. I still can't hear you. I don't know what happened. Nope. Can you guys hear me? Testing, testing. Those of you who are watching, do me a favor. Tell me if you can hear myself speaking. Orville, go ahead and speak. Nope, can't hear you. I don't know what happened. It just went away all of a sudden. Those of you, somebody who's watching, can you tell me if you can you type it in the comments unless you're watching on YouTube. Um, I'll have to go on my thing to hear. Let me see if I hear myself. Um, do you have a is that a mic that you're headphones? No. Can you guys hear me? Is that a okay? Yeah, I hear myself. You go ahead and speak, Oracle. No. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I hear myself. You go ahead and speak, Oracle. Yeah, Oracle. Yeah, yeah. So nope, your volume is down. Um. Okay. All right, guys. I'm sorry for the technical difficulty. I see a couple of you guys watching. Tell me where you're watching from. We're talking to Orville Anderson, and unfortunately, something went with his. Nope, can't hear you right now. Something went bad. You can hear me, Sophia. Yeah, I feel like I lost Orville's sound. Do you have headphones, Orville? Those are headphones right there. Can you link? It's already plugged into the computer. Type it in. Yeah. So something's going on with Restream. So yeah, yeah. We'll wait. So we're talking about yeah. So we're talking to Orville Anderson about um, electrical engineering. I guess during my break, what I can do is talk about my phenomenal STEM camp. So, those of you who have children who want something to do for the summer, the month of July, I have an online STEM camp. You go to phenomenalstemist.com, and when you go to the phenomenalstemist.com, you're able to register for Phenomenal STEM Camp. It will be from July 5th until July 30th. It's basically on your own time, and so you don't have to worry about being forced in a certain time frame. And your kids are going to learn the basics of biology, physics, and chemistry. It's for everybody, K through 12. You have high school students, it'll even train them in the concept of higher level sciences uh, and then financial literacy, all kinds of different types of literacy, along with their um, sciences, and of course, my book, The Phenomenal STEMist. It's on Amazon now, and once you get on Amazon, you'll see you could go to phenomenalstemist.com and click the image of the book. It will take you straight to Amazon to purchase the book. All right. Unfortunately, Orville's still uh, missing. He's coming in. I see him coming in. Um, yeah, Sophia, we're having technical difficulties. So just bear with us. We're almost done with the interview. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Here comes Orville back.
Okay, can you hear me?
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay.
All right. All right. So yeah, we were talking about like electrical engineering, and well, can you explain a little bit about like what is electrical engineering? So I got
So,
your point about the job that you're doing. But
yes.
what? Yeah, go ahead.
So, yes, this is a question I get quite often, and it's a very difficult question to answer, really. So, let me just give you a generalization. Anything that has to deal with, say, anything that's electrical powered, right, is really dealing with electrical engineering. That's a short and simple answer. Um, to make it broader of some of the things that most people don't know about in terms of electrical engineering. What most people think of, say, the wiring in your house, right? That you plug in your socket and you plug in your stove, your curling iron and stuff like that. All of that has to be at least looked at or supervised by electrical engineer. So the engineer would that design the wiring, say what's the spacing in your house for that wiring, how much sockets you should have per room, and something special like in every bathroom or in every kitchen they have a special socket that, say for instance, if you say dropped your toaster in the water, right, and you're getting shocked, the socket would automatically disconnect to save your life, stuff like that. So things like that electrical engineers would design. That's one aspect. Say another aspect is your cell phone, the to actually the antenna that's in there that sends a signal to the cell tower. An engineer designed that part of it, the antenna and the cell tower and the antenna in your cell phone. The processing when you talk to convert your voice to electrical signal to go over the waves, that's also an electrical engineer. So it's a very, believe it, it's one of the broadest fields that we have. And some people are, it's so broad that computer engineers, right, is actually a part of the electrical engineering field. But
Yeah.
since they didn't want to make it even broader, they broke it up and gave computer engineers a field by themselves. So, anything that you think of that has to deal with electricity or the movement of electrons or any type of processing has to be done by an electrical engineer.
Wow, you broke it down for me. Like even me, like anything that requires a wire.
Yes.
That's it. Anything that
Yes.
requires a wire, an electrical engineer is involved in.
Yeah, like the
Whether
microphone that you're using to talk to me now, electrical engineer had to be in there.
it has a rubber wire and understanding, understanding the role of rubber around the
Yes.
wiring, and
Yes.
that requires physics and that requires chemistry, understanding
Yes.
electrons, right? So you have to be prepared with these classes. But I want you to know, if you've ever thought of like, how does my cell phone work, or how do computers work, or how does this wire work, like you can like learn this stuff. You can be the engineer that creates the stuff. You have people watching, your cousins watching. Listen, I'm so glad you broke that down. So, what are your challenges? So, you work in this plant and you're playing, you're engineering this um, very important institution that provides something for the community. What are your challenges?
Well, the challenges I have now is often so, and this goes for actually all engineers, right? Engineering is a very technical field, and part of that is you have to then take the technical ideas that you have in your head, how things work, and then explain them to other people, like managers or the people who are actually going to give you the money to implement your designs and ideas. So it can be very challenging actually explaining why do we need to buy this equipment that's $500,000 when we could buy this which is $200,000, or why in particular did we need to have this redundancy, why do we need to buy 5 units instead of two, things like that, and to actually convey that technical idea to the other person, that's might not be as technical inclined, or even other engineers who that's not their expertise, but they still have to understand or make a justification of what you're doing. That can become daunting.
I love it. I love it. You're like connecting this whole interview, because you just said earlier, my first couple of questions about what was your challenges, and it was English literature, and how what does English literature have to do with my wanting to study electrical engineering. And because you took those classes, it made you well rounded enough to be able to communicate with people later on. And you may be wondering why I don't need this stuff, but actually you do, because it makes you a well-rounded person, helps you to learn how to communicate, to talk to people that have no idea about the technicalities of your thing. But it's a challenge. It's a
And
challenge.
and to add to that, part of your job as an engineer, I said most of your job is going to be design. That's actually the start of the definition of being an engineer. You're going to design and build something. But part of that work is, after you're done with the design, is to explain to the public and other people, how does this thing work, or why does it work. So in your head you can draw this picture of all the technicalities, and you can go down to say the resistance and resistors and capacitors and integrated circuits and all of these things. But what does that mean to the layperson out there? You have to be
Exactly.
able to explain all of that to the public and other people that you work with.
And basically help them solve their need. I give classic example about StreamYard. It was electrical engineers that created StreamYard, or you like to say computer engineers, which is really an electrical engineer, right? Right? They created something and it blew up because the need exploded. And sometimes you could create something that people are craving and they don't even know they're craving, So but I love the fact that you said you guys are the designers. So that's the difference between an electrical engineer and, let's say, an engineering technician, guys. And like I said before, a lot of the times they push. I said this before in another interview. I want us to be well rounded and have all kinds of degrees. I have no problem with technicians, but I don't like the fact that they always push our boys to just technicians, right? The difference is the technicians are going to be fixing and working with it, and they can have a lucrative career in that as well. So no judgment on it. But I also want you to know that you can build it. You not only can fix it, you can build it. And that's what engineers do. They design and they build it. That's the difference. I love this interview.
No,
You
so
want to
to
say
go
something,
back
Honorable?
to go back to part of what you said, sorry, part of what I said about learning about things in engineering school, how things work. And since you touch on that topic with technicians, um, part of the challenge that you'll have in engineering school too is that most of the things you're taught, aren't as practical for practical things that you deal with in your daily life. For example, you might take a class on, say, video processing, you know, and learn how video processors work, or signal processors work. But then when you come home and say you look at your television, does that mean that you're going to be able to understand anything that's in your television? No.
Right.
So most of what you learn in engineering school are the theories behind how things work, the physics behind it, the chemistry behind it, the math behind it. And then when you actually in the field and get a job, you're going to apply those math and the physics, or the chemistry, to actually design something else. And while in more like a technical field, or a technician would actually learn to work on the actual thing that's out there,
Right
like
away.
right away. So that's the sort of the what I call it, the difference in that. And a lot of what's very important for engineers is, you have to get some type of, it's good to have an internship or some
Internship.
kind
Yep.
of practical experience, because once you finish engineering school, you know all these theories and all these ideas, but it's very hard to see where you're going to apply them. So unless you have that, say, a little bit of hands-on experience, it's difficult to day one design something, or day one work. So you have to either see if you can invest the time to do that, or get an internship or some kind of practical work where you can actually see how these theories that you learn are applied in real life.
Awesome, awesome. And that's so key. So while you're in college, you have to be looking for internship. Don't wait to graduate to get experience, because then you're going to be like, well, what? I learned all the theory. Where I get this experience? You get it through internship. I'm glad you mentioned that, Orville. That's so key. All right. So last question. What's your favorite part of your career? Now you've taught math, you've taught physics, and you've become an engineer in industry. Like, what's your favorite part of your career?
Well, my favorite part is when you actually design or implement a plan and you actually see it work. So you get a sense of accomplishment or achievement when you know that, okay, I designed this process, or I designed this tool or this plan, and people are actually using it to solve a problem, or to make the process go better, or to actually do something special out there. So when you see that, your work in action, I think, yeah, that for me, that's the enjoyable part.
Yeah, you see, you build a building and you see the building, you see people going in the building, you create some kind of device and you see people using the device. It's so, I'm sure it's, yeah, I can totally see that. Well, oh my goodness, this has been an awesome interview, Mr. Orville Anderson. You have given a lot of people something to think about. And I hope those of you who want to become electrical engineers consider it and implement what he said. He said you have to focus. You have to study by yourself and with groups, right? You have to appreciate the other classes in college that may not have anything to do with your discipline, because they will help you in the future. You have to be able to communicate this stuff effectively to people who are not as technical as you. But when you do it and you create a product, you're going to get all kinds of joy from it, seeing other people use it or be made safe because of your job. So thank you so much, Mr. Orville Anderson. I am the phenomenal STEMist, and so is he. So is he. You guys have a good night.